This episode of the Game Changers podcast was recorded by Narmi Films. Go check them out for all your production needs. The voice of the streets will be heard on this special edition of the Game Changers podcast. Hello, everybody. My name is Quinn Seshis, and it's a pleasure and privilege to be here with you, as usual. I will not introduce my guest. In fact, I'll allow him to introduce himself, and then I'll introduce the topic that we'll be tackling. So, my guest, tell the audience who you are.
Thank you, Quinn. My name is Che Dion, an Antiguan national, also a national of Dominica and Trinidad, naturalized through my father and mother. I am a 30 years old probation officer, been in my occupation for over 4 years now, and I'm proud to be who I am.
For sure. Well said. I like that introduction. Short and sweet, and it gets to the point of exactly who you are. Now, you said that you're a probation officer, and whenever people think about that, they think of almost like a police officer. But is that what it is?
No, I would just like to let the audience as well as Quinn know that there's a complete difference between being a probation officer and a police officer. A police officer's duty is to uphold the law. A probation officer's duty is rehabilitation.
Okay.
And to prevent recidivism as best as we can. So within my career, especially when dealing with clients based under my supervision, they are a bit apprehensive at first because they do believe that because we work closely with the police force in regards to ensuring that individuals keep within the court's supervision, they do believe that we are also a part of the police. But I'd just like to let the general public know that it's a completely different unit. We are only affiliated with the police in regards to ensuring that individuals keep within their guidelines as set forth by the court and helping them in their rehabilitative needs. And that's basically it.
Beautiful. So it's a collaborative effort, but it's not the same thing.
It's a collaborative effort, yes, but it's not the same thing. It's an entirely different unit with different responsibilities.
Beautiful. Okay, so thanks for that clarification. Now, I need to have some context to understand why you became a probation officer. I mean, somebody doesn't just get up and choose that job. So what is your context? Why did you become a probation officer?
Well, upon graduation, I sought after a field within my school of study. I studied within the School of Social Sciences. So my natural inclination was to land a career that's associated to that field. You know, it's commonplace for a lot of persons after university. They find jobs that are completely different from what their field of study would be. That wasn't the case with me. I tried my best to land a career within my field of study. I first considered being a guidance counselor within a Board of Education, Ministry of Education, But an opportunity presented itself to become a probation officer.
Okay.
And the responsibilities in regards to the chaperoning, there's a bit of counseling involved, ensuring that individuals stick with the guidelines set forth by the respective courts, and helping them, assisting them in any means necessary. It's pretty much along the lines of what I went and studied for, because there's a lot of psychology that's incorporated in dealing with your clients, the people who are placed under your responsibility.
Interesting. So I'm seeing that you had a passion for psychology, and that led you to becoming a probation officer.
Right. I always saw myself within that field. I originally saw myself as a guidance counselor, and then when the opportunity to become a probation officer presented itself, it was no different than my original aspiration.
Makes sense.
So it came naturally.
Makes sense. Now, I know you would focus, or not focus, but you'll deal a lot with young people. Naturally, I mean, unfortunately, we have a lot of young males involved in crime. So a day-to-day, what would a day-to-day be like for you?
Well, a day-to-day, provided that I am a juvenile is placed under my responsibility,
Right.
we would first ensure that the individual is attending school regularly. So we're checking with the various district true and C officers to ensure that they are attending school, they are focusing on their studies, and they're not getting into any form of trouble at school. We would assist in their educational needs. We would assist in placing them in programs that help develop not only their life skills, but the holistic and any other skills that would be of benefit to them. And it's essentially you are their guardian in a sense to ensure that they keep on the straight and narrow. If there's an instance where they would get into trouble, the police would get into contact with you, and they would be released onto your care and the care of any parent, guardian present. And you would just have to ensure that they abide by any rules set forth by the code. If there's a curfew, they have to abide by the curfew. If there's a particular behavior that they have to follow, you ensure that they abide by it.
Right.
If they are to abstain from certain areas, delinquent company, you ensure that they abstain from said company.
Okay. So you basically manage various aspects of their life. That's what I'm understanding.
Right. Correct.
Right. Understand. Now, okay. So in your experience, what are some of the common factors that many criminal young people, I don't want to say call them criminal young people, but young people who engage in crime, I should probably say, do you see that lead to them engaging in crime? So what are some of the things that cause young people to engage in crime?
The common the terminology for any juvenile or any minor who comes into conflict with the law is juvenile delinquency.
Okay, fine.
From what I've observed, the factors are, but aren't limited to, lack of parental support.
Big one.
Especially father figures.
Oh, big one.
A lot of these households these days, they are single parent households. Because they belong to single parent households, the mother has a responsibility to provide financially. And because the mother has the responsibility to provide financially, she is not always present. So the juveniles in question, they're left with a lot of time on their hands, which is unsupervised.
Idleness,
exactly. And you know the age-old saying from the Bible itself.
Idle hands.
The devil find works for idle hands. So as a result of such, just because the parent, the mother or the father, whatever single parent household they come from, doesn't have that time to supervise them as a parent should, they find themselves in a lot of instances where they breach the law, get into trouble, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Another reason would be the socioeconomic level. Majority of them come from low-income families.
Yes.
So to be able to feed themselves, they would become involved in illegal activities to be able to provide a meal for themselves, sometimes a meal for them families. And unfortunately, because of that background, the parents would encourage that behavior as well. So those are the two most major factors I've seen. And there would be another case where there would be absenteeism. So there wouldn't be the existence of the father or the mother.
Yeah.
These children are essentially raising themselves, and obviously a child can't raise themselves.
Not at all.
So they find themselves involved in all manner of negative activities because they do not have that supervision.
Interesting. So, okay, I'm thinking, do you think that education also plays a role in this thing?
Yes, education plays an important role because the classrooms of today, they are filled to the brim. So the teachers now, they do not have that ability to focus individually on their respective student population. So a lot of them fall through the gaps as a result. And we all differ in regards to our learning capacity.
Right.
Some students, they struggle more than others.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, those that struggle because they aren't able to get that focus or that patience necessary to enable them to learn, to be able for them to properly gain the knowledge necessary in
Right.
regards to their studies. There is resentment, there is impulsive behavior, there's also straight up delinquency as a result, because they aren't making their way in school. So they either misbehave, they find themselves behaving inappropriately.
Right.
They do all what they can to get into trouble because there's that frustration.
Right. So they're frustrated with themselves, so they frustrate others.
Exactly.
Perfect. I understand that completely. All right. So then, what role does the probation system play in helping either prevent that behavior or helping deal with it when it does happen?
Well, first we look at where the conflict is arising from.
Okay.
So we try to address what is causing the underlying behavior. So if there is a realization that the juvenile in question has a struggle academically, we try our best to break down the struggle and slowly but surely help build up their confidence in regards to the subject areas that are creating frustration within themselves.
Okay, all right. So you say that self-identity and self-respect is very important in becoming...
Right. And understanding where the shortcomings are and try to foster that level of confidence, and also try to assist them in whatever subject areas that are an issue to them.
For sure. For sure. So, okay, you spoke about how you help, but I mean, we know that people's circles matter, right? So how does their families, that is the juvenile delinquents, their families, do they play any role in this process?
Unfortunately, sometimes the parents do assist. The parents do want best for their children, and they encourage their children to partake in the programs that we would implement for them. The parents would enforce discipline, which in itself goes a long way, because spare the rod, spoil the child, obviously.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate factor is there are parents who do not pay the attention that they should.
Sad.
So sometimes the probation officer takes on the role of a parent, where you would not only have to see to the academic needs, but you would also have to provide and assist with the basic life skills, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, grooming, hygiene, and all the like.
And boy, I'm seeing more and more that we have a conversation. I'm seeing the role, and parents sometimes don't even realize how important they are in the lives of children. You know, people say that, you know, when a home falls apart, the children are the ones who become the broken pieces, right? Right? Because, you know, when parents either divorce or they're no longer with each other or just don't play their role, we see it affecting the children directly.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And it's very important that parents understand their role and understand that we need better parents in society, because I think society lacks parents, and I think that is the big issue, you know, because I mean, certain behaviors I see certain people doing down the road, I would have never done that as a child, because they would have, and let me tell you something, my mother would have destroyed me.
And that's the unfortunate part too, because yes, parents play an important role, but the community also plays a role as well. And unfortunately, we have become a society that's very closed, very uptight, very self-centered and selfish. So that community dynamic where a community would raise and discipline a child no longer exists. So as a result, unruly behavior.
Yeah, for sure. And it's rampant. It's almost like it's a worse pandemic than COVID was. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yes.
For sure.
this ad slot could be yours. In a world filled with stories, make yours resonate. Introducing Prime ad slots on our podcast, the gateway to a captive audience eager to hear your message. Secure your exclusive ad slot now. Contact via our Instagram page to find out more.
Okay, so I want to move a little bit away from the interview to something a little more lighthearted before we get into even more deep stuff. Right, so this part of our Game Changers interview I call the quick hitters. So it's just about learning about the individual that I'm interviewing.
Right.
It's lighthearted, rapid fire question. So the first answer that comes to you, I just give you your answer.
Okay.
All right. So let's go. First question: what type of music do you like listening to?
Oh.
That's a hard question.
There isn't a specific genre.
Okay.
I am the type of individual who is attracted to all.
Okay.
So as long as it appeals to my personal taste. So there's indie pop, hip hop, R&B, soca, booyah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Dominica.
Right. So I am attracted to all types of music once it's appealing to me.
Okay, good answer. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Best piece of advice would be patience is virtue.
Oh, wow.
It might sound a bit cliche,
Yeah.
but there's a deep importance with understanding its true meaning and also applying it. There are a lot of things that we try to rush. There's a lot of things we try to get done, but there are times in life where you have to take a step back and let life take you on its own path.
For sure. All right. So we're moving on to the back end of the interview. What has been your biggest challenge thus far working in your position?
Well, unfortunately, our ministry is severely underfunded. We recently had a move from one building to the other. And since we've moved to said building, there's been a lack of basics, phone, internet, and most severely, privacy. Just imagine a building where you're dealing with you're dealing with perpetrators and victims, both coming through the same entrance.
Wow, that's tough.
Right. So there's that risk factor. Also, there's the lack of resources. When I say resources, I mean institutional support.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have a juvenile detention center. Our only juvenile detention center has been closed for years.
Wow.
Yet to be open. So there's a housing issue in regards to youth who come into conflict with the law. They are actually held in our prison.
Oh, that's tough.
And you can't have juveniles in an adult prison.
Yeah, and you mix in bad influence with...
Exactly. From what I've observed, the prison is a university for crime, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So there's that. We are actually lacking a lot of programs, rehabilitative programs that would help at-risk youth. So there's a serious lack of governmental programs in place.
Mm-hmm.
There are some private NGO programs. I commend those that do try their best to curb those types of behaviors, to develop young men and young women to be better, to help develop young men and young women to be better, but they aren't enough. There is a serious lack of motivation from the government to implement these programs, to help implement and encourage these programs. So as a result, we are fighting an uphill battle.
It seems to be like, that's a trend throughout the region. I think, I don't know why we don't seem to invest in young people so much. We wait until they become mature criminals and then we want to change them. And it doesn't work that way. I don't know why.
Yes, our priorities seem to be out of order, especially within the Caribbean, the diaspora, the Caribbean archipelago. Our focus is on financial gain,
Mm-hmm.
but our focus should be on our societies as a whole, because without that human force, then you can't make the monies necessary for economic prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand that the youth are the future, and if our youth are facing these turmoils unchecked without the necessary support of our society, of our leaders, then we're looking at a seriously dark future.
For sure. Unfortunately. So what would you say is the most critical change that is needed to be done to fix these problems that we just addressed?
Well, we first have to address the underlying issues. We have to foster as much support as we can for our youth, for our young people. We have to develop the programs necessary that not only see to the academic, but the holistic and life skills. We also have to encourage them, motivate them, and discipline them where necessary.
Yes, for sure.
Because we have a serious disciplinary issue. I'm not saying punish severely, but there has to be some level of accountability
For
so
sure.
that they understand that there's consequences of their actions. Because in Antigua, it's more of a slap of a wrist,
Yeah.
a slap on the wrist, than correction
Right.
through discipline. You understand? So we always have to, by encouraging these factors, we should be able to get it straight.
For sure. For sure. And yeah, again, it's about rehabilitation, and sometimes rehabilitation means not just a slap on the wrist, but actual punishment. Because criminals might say, okay, well, I spend 2 nights in jail, I come back out, go back to doing crime, right? And that's very simple for them, and it's very easy for them. So it's important that we, like you said, not severely punish them because we want to reincorporate them into society, but we must be strong enough to say that, hey, this is actually wrong, and we must not encourage them to do that.
Right. You have to foster accountability.
Yes.
You have to foster accountability, and you also have to look at what is triggering or what is causing this underlying behavior and address it accordingly. Majority of the time, a lot of these youth, because they're struggling in school, because they're struggling academically, they act out as a result. So I'm of the opinion that if you see this, if this is an observation, you develop a skill. You see what the child in question or the juvenile, the adolescent in question has a natural talent for, and you foster that skill. Because a lot of them, when you expose them to, say, trade school or programs that allow them to practice different skills, mechanic, carpentry, masonry, HVAC, AC technicians and the like, the understanding that they develop would come in with a heartbeat compared to a man who, like myself, it's hard to treat a old dog.
New tricks, yeah.
Some of these youth, if you teach them how to splice a wire once,
gone,
catch it for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So we do have to have that understanding and try to encourage them. If we see that they're failing academically, we encourage them in other aspects.
For sure. And I think that the term for that is positive reinforcement.
Exactly.
Positive reinforcement. So you do not just, yes, punishment is necessary at some times, but you need to teach them the right thing to do instead of just teaching them the bad thing to do.
Exactly.
I think sometimes, that's another thing we do. Like, okay, we tell them, stop doing that. But we don't tell them what to do instead of that.
Right.
So they're left with, okay, what else can I do? I'm in poverty. I don't have anything. As a man, I feel like, I am ashamed of myself. I can't provide for my family, but I don't know how. And crime is literally all I know, right? So I think teaching them that is very necessary. I like that.
It's an important factor.
For sure. For sure. Okay, now, this is my final question. Young people or people in general who view this podcast, I think, are solution-oriented. They might be watching this and want to know, what can I do to help maybe a young person that I know? Maybe it's a family member, or maybe it's just somebody that I know in society who I know that's engaged in crime. What can I do for them to help them? How can I help out in this situation?
Like you said, positive reinforcement, support, encouragement, These are severely important. You also have to call out the behaviors, call out the bad behaviors, explain to them how these behaviors can affect them in the long run. One of the things I personally do is I explain to them, listen, you are in the most beautiful stage of your life. You are a child, you're a young person. This is a stage where you're supposed to be enjoying life. The responsibilities of an adult haven't hit you as yet. So you're supposed to be making friends, enjoying yourself, enjoying life. Yeah, life might be hard, but there are people that you can look to for support. No one would look at an adolescent or a child and turn them away if they come for support. Right?
That's true.
And that's the unfortunate part. They are taught that they, unfortunately, grown individuals, they sometimes encourage a lot of negative thoughts, and we need to speak to our young people and explain to them that yes, your environment may not be the best, your life, your background, the family you belong to may not be the best, but you have a bright future ahead of you.
For sure.
And if you apply yourself in a positive way, if you apply yourself, if you foster that positivity within yourself, then the sky is the limit. So we always have to speak to our youth. We always have to call them out on their bad behavior, explain to them how the bad behaviors can affect them down the road. Another thing I explain to them is, listen, if you continue along this path, when you become an adult and you're charged and fined, if you try to go and attempt to apply for a visa, you'd be denied. And imagine if an opportunity to present itself abroad. So I always do try to show them that sometimes the consequences of your actions, they can affect you for your entire
rest of your life. Yeah.
You understand? Because you are behaving delinquent, you're stealing you're stealing from people, you're behaving delinquent, you're committing these crimes, these illicit acts. You're a prospective employer who could probably change your life wouldn't be inclined to hire you. So I always encourage them and try to show them that their behaviors could have lasting effects. And I do believe that people also should do the same. Encouragement, support, calling out the bad behaviors, basically being your neighbor's keeper, because we have a society where we've moved away from that, and we need to get back to that closeness we had as a community.
For sure.
So if you see that there's a juvenile or adolescent, a young person within your community is involved in illegal activities, or to put it simply, bad behaviors, you speak to them. You speak to them from a non-judgmental perspective.
Important.
You understand where it is they're coming from, what may be influencing the behavior, and also you pray for them.
For sure.
We always have to foster the spirituality, because that's lacking severely. You sit down, you pray with them, you pray for them if they refuse to have a sit down and pray with you, because young people are a bit aggressive. So you pray with them and you be there for them, especially when you realize it's a situation where they basically don't have anyone to be there for them. Because sometimes all a juvenile or a child, a minor, or adolescent would really need is someone to just pay attention to them.
Someone who cares.
Someone who cares. So you pay attention where necessary.
Absolutely. I couldn't think of a better way to end discussion. So be the change that you want to see. Often we complain about, young people this, young people that, but we do absolutely nothing to help them out.
Nothing at all.
And you have to be the change that you want to see.
Right.
Jay, I want to thank you so much for coming on here today, man. It's been a long time coming.
Oh God.
We've been speaking on the interview, but you're in St. Lucia.
Yeah.
Not just on vacation, but on a positive drive as well. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope these discussions continue. Don't be a stranger. I mean, a part 2 could always run. A part 2 could always run, maybe. Right? But thank you so much. Thank you guys for coming and listen. Remember to like and subscribe. There's a lot more amazing content where this has come from. There are a lot more amazing guests as well. So many amazing interviews and amazing discussions coming your way. Thank you for all your support thus far. Remember to check out our channel. Remember to check out our merchandise. Everything that aligns with Game Changers. And as usual, stay hungry, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Yeah, man.